G'day everybody. Today we're going to be talking about digital SLR cameras. What is a digital SLR camera? Well, this is a digital SLR camera, see? But what is it? What does DSLR mean? And most of all, what sets the DSLR cameras apart from all of the other cameras on the market today? Stay tuned, let's go and find out. Rightio folks, here I have two cameras, an SLR, an old Hanimix Praktica TL1000. It's a super TL1000, even better. This was one of my favourite film cameras for many years. That's an SLR, and that's a DSLR. What's the difference? The only difference is the D. So what's the D? Well, the D is digital. This is a film SLR. You know, ironically, it's not called an FSLR, but this is a film SLR, and this is a digital SLR. So we've worked out that the D in DSLR means digital, but what does the SLR mean? Basically, SLR stands for Single Lens Reflex camera. Some people think that it means single lens reflection or single lens reflector because it reflects the light through a series of mirrors and prisms to your eye through a single lens. And that's quite close. Technically speaking, that's right, that's what it does. It's a single lens and it reflects the image. But it actually stands for Single Lens Reflex camera. Now, you might wonder why they use single lens, because all cameras have just got one lens, right? No, they haven't. There used to be a popular line of cameras many years ago called a TLR, which was a twin lens reflector. The TLR used twin lenses. One lens was for the viewfinder, which you usually looked down and out through, and the other lens was for taking the photo, which was the actual camera lens. And they were identical lenses. But they came up with a design, a reflector design, to create the SLR camera, and the first 35mm format SLR camera, which is the standard film size, was released in 1957. Before then, there was medium format and large format single lens reflectors from Veronica and stuff like that. Rightio, so SLR, single lens reflex, or DSLR, digital single lens reflex. The light goes through the lens, and yet I see it through this viewfinder up here, which is considerably higher than the lens. I'm going to bring the camera a bit closer for this. Right, now there's the lens. This is just the standard kit lens that comes with a lot of these Canon cameras. The light passes through that lens, and yet when I look through the viewfinder up here, I can see what's coming out down here. The light comes into the camera through the lens. It hits a mirror in back here called a reflex mirror, and it bounces up from the reflex mirror to an area called the pentaprism, which is a 5-sided mirror. It bounces up, forward, down, and then back out through the viewfinder. But it's the reflex mirror down here that gives it its name. And the reflex is called that because it has a reflex reaction when I push the shutter button. Basically, that reflex mirror sits directly in front of the image sensor in this case, or in the film case, it sits in front of the film. So that when you look through the viewfinder, you're looking at the mirror that's in front of the film, or this image sensor. When I push the shutter button, that reflex mirror folds down, or folds up, depending on which camera variety you're using, and then allows the light to go straight past the entire mirror system and onto the film or onto the image sensor. That's why if you're taking a long exposure photo on a tripod and you look through your viewfinder, you won't see an image. That's because the mirror's gone. The mirror's tucked away, allowing the light to come into the sensor. Right, so I've just taken the lens off. You can't really see in there, but there's a mirror. When I push the shutter button, you'll see the mirror flash. You can see the mirror flashing. That's the mirror flashing out of the way and allowing the light to go through to the film, or the image sensor in this case. Now, if I slow that shutter right down, that will happen a lot slower. Did you see the mirror? Right now I can't see through the image finder. There we go. Now right now I can't see through the viewfinder because the mirror is folded down and just folded back up now. That mirror is the reflex mirror, and that's what gives this camera its name. Right, so that mirror was called the reflex mirror, and that's what gives the camera its name, single lens reflex. So it's a single lens, a reflex mirror. So the light goes through, it passes up through a series of mirrors and prisms, and then you can see through the viewfinder at exactly what you're going to take the photograph of. So what sets the DSLR apart from other cameras, compact cameras? Well, firstly is the image size. the image sensor size, sorry. The digital SLR usually has a much larger image sensor than the compact cameras. On most of the standard digital SLR, such as this one and the one I'm filming on, the Canon 70D, I think it's something like 24 by 16 millimeters wide. Then you can get the full frame digital SLRs, and they call it full frame because the image size is the same size as the old 35mm print film that we used to use. So you can get full frame, but even the ones that aren't full frame, they are still a much bigger sensor than what you get in compact cameras, and the result from that is much better image quality, much better performance in the dark, low level performance, and most of all, they handle the bright dynamic range better. And I'm going to go into dynamic range in another video soon, but they handle the contrast between brights and darks a lot better than what compact cameras do. So you've got a better image quality, you've got better performance in low light, and you've got much better contrast in your images than what you'll ever get in any compact camera. Also, one of the things that I like, because you're looking through the lens, you are actually metering through the lens. You are focusing through the lens. So in low light conditions, you can focus much better with a digital SLR or an SLR camera than what you ever can with any compact camera. They're better focuses. Basic rule of thumb is that the digital SLRs are a photo machine, although they are getting much better these days with video mode. And the compact cameras are more of a handy machine. They're small, they call them compact for a reason. You can get waterproof ones, you can put them in your pocket, they're lightweight. A lot of emphasis goes into megapixels. I would rather have a 6 megapixel digital SLR than a 26 megapixel compact camera, because the 6 megapixel SLR is using a bigger image sensor, which takes a clearer photo. Right, so I hope this video is giving you a good insight into exactly what a DSLR or an SLR camera is. Digital Single Lens Reflex camera. Remember, single lens, reflex mirror, then it's a camera because it takes photos. I hope this has given you a bit of an understanding. And if you have gone out and bought a digital SLR camera just recently and you're having trouble with it, continue watching the videos on this channel, because I'm going to talk you through it, because I can guarantee that in the end you'll be glad you bought it, because digital SLRs are far better than compact cameras for photography work, in my personal opinion. I know people will argue with that, and that's fine. We've all got our own opinions. I use compacts. I've got a little waterproof compact that I take fishing. I've got an infrared compact that I use creatively. But for decent high quality photos, personally I think it's hard to beat a digital SLR camera of any level.